Well, good afternoon. This is Andrew Pedersen, agronomist with True Organic Products. I'm here in the Central Valley of California at an organic processing tomato field. And what I want to talk about today is a calcium disorder of tomato plants that you might often see if you're growing tomatoes in your home or garden. What this is called is blossom end rot. You can also see it in zucchinis, bell peppers, a lot of different types of fruiting vegetable plants. And basically what it is it's a blackish lesion on the tip of the fruit that actually starts off with kind of a water-soaked lesion appearance. Here's kind of an earlier developing one. And oftentimes these fruits will show up as the first red fruits on the plant. You'll look at that and think, oh boy, I've got my first tomatoes of the season coming on. And then you pull that tomato plant off and you're really disappointed because it's got that sort of ugly black discoloration on the bottom. And this is certainly an issue for commercial farmers as well as home gardeners, as you can see, because I pulled this off of these plants right here from this commercial tomato planting. And so basically what's happening there is that tomato fruit didn't get enough calcium during its early development, and then as the fruit expanded and got larger, some of the fruit cells inside the tip of the tomato fruit sort of broke apart because they didn't have enough calcium in there to help hold things together. So the way we mitigate that is getting enough calcium into the fruit, especially early in development. With all fruit, there's sort of a critical window when the fruit is very small where calcium that's being pulled up from the soil can actually move into the fruit. And as the fruit gets larger, eventually that supply of calcium to the fruit gets cut off. So it's really critical to have enough available calcium in the soil that the plant can take up early in the season. So there are a couple of sort of issues you can work around to help mitigate this. One of the big ones is making sure your tomato plants have the right amount of water. If you're under irrigating or over irrigating, the tomato plants are going to shut down. They're not going to be pulling up water from the soil, or at least not as much as you want. And calcium is brought into the plant through that delivery system. So that's really critical. Make sure you're irrigating your tomato plants appropriately. If you've got heavy soils, you may run into an issue of applying too much water. If you've got really light sandy soils, you may have the opposite. You may have your soils drying out more quickly. So just keep an eye on that. That'll go a long way to help mitigating this issue. A couple other things is to watch out for excess applications of some other nutrients. I think what are most common are nitrogen and phosphorus. Phosphorus in the soil can actually tie up the calcium, making it insoluble, unavailable to be taken up by the plant. So that's a big one to watch out for. If you've got a lot of phosphorus already in your soil, you might want to go with a fertility blend that has a lower amount of phosphorus when you're starting out your tomato season. For nitrogen, if you've got excess vegetative vigor on these tomato plants, those leaves are actually going to compete for the calcium that's being pulled up from the soil. So the calcium will go more to the leaves of the crop than to the fruit where you want it. Now, of course, you need a good vegetative canopy. You need good leaf structure to protect the fruit from sunburn, and of course to feed the fruit with photosynthesis. So you want to have a nice balance in your canopy of both leaves and fruit during the season. And doing those kinds of things is going to really help mitigate some of that blossom end rot issue and get you more of those big, healthy looking red tomatoes that you want. Thank you.